Yup, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Jokes aside, Kamaru Usman was the pound for pound number one with a 19-fight win streak. He was, in his words, lapping arguably the most difficult division in the UFC right now.
You know, I'm so far ahead of these guys, I'm starting to come around, and I'm coming around with the vengeance now.
I mean, we were comparing him to GSP not long ago, and if you were to ask Dana White, he probably would have said that he surpassed him.
Usman is just, this guy's the best ever. He's the best welterweight of all time.
But Dana White's top 5 doesn't even include Mighty Mouse, so how credible is his opinion really when it comes to these things? But Leon Edwards? The guy who seemed like another name on the victory lap for Usman? She was on a 9-fight win streak, and he was a complete striker. But we didn't think he was the one to take the belt. So how did we get from this
point where I had his hand trapped and I was just beating on the side of his head
to this? Leon's got a predominantly Muay Thai style, with a deadly array of elbows, combinations and kicks that he uses to piece up opponents on the outside. His thinking's like, chill.
I can't let you get close.
But don't get it twisted, Leon's clinch game is second to none. Those who get too close will be met with some vicious elbows. Stylistically, it makes him a tough matchup for Usman. The Nigerian Nightmare values control and breaking momentum. And one of the ways that he does that is by leaning against you in the clinch against the cage. Not only does that lend itself to elbows and knees from Leon, but also trips. And Leon's trips from the clinch are a thing of beauty. And paired with his now black belt in jiu-jitsu, you get this mix that subtly bypasses the intense wrestling pedigree of those top 5 welterweights and launches him into top position, ready to get the submission if need be, or rain down ground and pound. At that point, it's dealer's choice. It's no secret by now that the head kick was planned and drilled.
We played for that, mate. We practiced it, drilled it, and he nailed it, man.
So, I don't want to hear any more takes out of Islam Makhachev about it being lucky.
Edwards lucky because he beat him all 5 rounds.
Whether it was clear from his boxing style evasive head movement or the reads that Colby had made in his fight, Leon's team had caught it and drilled it. Even to the point of accounting for how low Usman's head would be when he's circling out.
Leon gets that side to deliver the kick. Don't deliver the kick in front.
No, round the angle, yeah.
That shows planning, not luck. And I could go on and on about how great that 1-2 head kick is, but we've got Robert Whittaker's highlight reel that can do that.
See with that 1-2-1, pepper that right sound is really no knees or front.
Genuinely though, it's only a piece of the puzzle. Don't forget we were moments away from this fight ending in round 1 with a rear naked choke, the only thing that Usman had ever lost to in his professional career. Definitely a deliberate decision calculated wisely by his team. Even the aspects that didn't pan out had merit as part of the game plan. The decision to offensively wrestle Usman may seem stupid and ineffective, and maybe it was, but it comes from a mentality that wins fights time and time again. Let me elaborate. Imposition. What do I mean by imposition? During a fight, one has to think about all the threats that the opponent poses to him and react to them in an effective way. But what happens when those threats pile up? When the wrestler dips his head down, should you drop your hands in anticipation of the shot, or should you guard yourself from the incoming overhand? This is the reason a Kamaru Usman can knock out a Masvidal, why Khabib can knock down a McGregor. But that only happens when your opponent respects or fears the threat you pose. As soon as they don't care or feel as if the threat they can give you is far greater than any threat you can pose to them, they stop being imposed on. And now they're imposing on you. And you can tell Leon's well aware of that fact. When you see his reflections about the first fight, you can tell that most of his regrets lie in being defensive and only focusing on a wrestling camp rather than a mixed martial arts camp.
That was the first mistake I made when I upped and left and went to America and tried to work wrestling.
And if it wasn't clear from the press conference, they were going to wrestle.
We're gonna wrestle.
We're gonna wrestle. Let's wrestle.
Let's wrestle. We're gonna wrestle.
The offensive wrestling didn't pan out. I mean, it's way too difficult to get to that level of a wrestling pedigree, especially coming from a country like the UK that doesn't really have the same wrestling culture that America does. But since his first pro fight, Leon had been taking people down in the clinch, And when he leaned into it, magic happened.
Saw this in fight number 1. Edwards did a good job.
Just like that, Usman's perfect takedown defense had been shattered by a striker, no less. The execution was a bit shoddy, but Leon had the right idea in his mind to bring the fight to Usman. And I know it's generic, but whoever brings the fight to the other opponent is usually the person who can win. And Usman knew this. In fact, he's a master of it. He understands the psychological impact of controlling someone. I mean, he did control and dominate Leon for damn near 4 rounds. But Usman imposing his game, as effective as it is a lot less deadly than when Leon imposes his. Hands down the most important reason Leon Edwards holds the belt today. It was his team that developed the idea for the fight-ending knockout. It was his team that gave him a game plan tailor-made to beat Usman.
Look for your clinch, Leon. Look for your clinch.
And most importantly, it was his team that gave him the courage to impose himself onto Usman.
Stay sharp. Come on, Leon, man. You got it, man. Come on. You got this. Sharpshooter.
Being an afterthought in AKA made Leon realize the importance of having a team that cares about him, enough to bring out his own unique style rather than just focusing on wrestling. I mean, this was a real life Rocky moment, pulling victory from the jaws of defeat. And if you think about it, Leon Edwards is quite lucky, to be honest. Lucky that he has a team that care about him enough to help him through the setbacks on his way to the title. The people who didn't doubt him, even when Leon doubted himself.
All we got to do now is just follow the game plan and come back with a big W.
But what does this all mean for Kamaru? Did we overhype him? Is it too late for the GSP comparisons? Not really. I mean, the guy himself racked up some losses, official and otherwise, and he came back harder with a vengeance each time. Usman has the mind and heart of a champion. You don't get knocked down by Gilbert Burns the way he did and come back like that if he didn't. Think about it, despite being taken down in the first round and giving up his back, he went on to win 4 rounds after that. And he seems calm in the aftermath of the fight. He seems like he's taking it well. However, a head kick like that is devastating, and the division's at a boiling point. With Chimaev firmly in the top 5 and Gilbert Burns looking the best we've ever seen him, I don't know what will happen in that third fight. Usman could come back, take the belt, defend it and cement himself as one of the GOATs, or Leon Edwards gets it done again. Or this fight might expose weaknesses in Usman that other welterweights prey upon. The future's uncertain, but for now it's Leon's time in the sun.
Don't doubt me, I couldn't do it. The odds that I couldn't do it. Look at me now.